a spontaneous and unrehearsed interview.
Hello, welcome to Curiosityness, the 101st episode of Curiosityness. We're officially in triple digits. We've hit 100, feels great, and now we're just moving on. Thank you for being here and listening. If you haven't been here before, I'm Travis DeRose, the host, and Curiosityness is a show where I interview people who you might be curious about to learn about the people or what they do, and that's why I have on Tom and Holly Valent. They are the owners of the Charles W. Howard Santa Claus School. They're the deans of the school, so they operate that. So, this quick disclaimer, if you happen to still believe in Santa, if you know somebody who believes in Santa, or, if you're under the age of a teenager or whatever, if someone's in the room, maybe shield their ears, push them out of the room before you listen to this one so we don't destroy any Christmas magic. But we're going to learn how folks become Mr. and Mrs. Claus. What you have to learn, do you have to have a real beard? How do you manicure and get a good looking wig or fake beard so you don't scare off the kids and look like a weirdo? What's the type of suit that you need? How do you do the perfect ho ho ho? It's more of a chuckle rather than like a bellow. But we'll learn all about that stuff. So Tom and Holly share basically the whole curriculum of Santa School, what it's like to go there, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a really fun episode. A lot of interesting things that you may not have even thought about that Santa Clauses have to learn and go through. So that's it. Thank you for being here. Let's get to the episode. Here is Tom and Holly Valent of the Charles W. Howard Santa Claus School. All right, we're rolling. How you doing, Tom and Holly?
I think we're good.
I think so, huh?
I think we're wonderful. It's the most wonderful time of the year right now. So
it is, yeah. It's all ramping up now. It's getting there.
It is.
Cool. Well, thanks for being here, guys.
We did our first call of the season this morning.
Ooh, what's the first call mean?
Go ahead, Helen.
It's the first time we were Santa and Mrs. Claus for a kindergarten class. They came to the Santa house and we greeted the children and talked to them about the reindeer and the North Pole and Christmas coming and just a little sneak preview of Christmas to come.
Right. Okay. Very cool. So we're already diving into it. You guys start early.
Well, actually, the visit was for our school, which is next week. And normally we have a kindergarten group or 2 or 3 come to the school, and Santa and Mrs. Claus show the Santa students how an entrance is done and how you talk to the children in a group. And then it gets critiqued afterwards, and it's a lot of fun. We sing with the kids and we ask some questions, and it always goes a little longer than you want it to. But the general rule of being Santa is don't hang around too long, or you'll become a decoration.
Okay. No, I mean that's why I have you on here, and something that you would. Inevitably, of course, there's a Santa school. People got to learn how to be Santa, but it's not something you may even really think about. But that's why you guys are around to help these to train Santas.
We are, and we are so proud and honored to be the deans of the Charles W. Howard Santa Claus School, the oldest and most famous school of its kind in the world. And it started in 1937 in Albion, New York. And Tom is the 3rd dean of the school. And so it's in its 83rd year. Wow. And it's just the most wonderful school and with great people. And we put out wonderful Santas that go through the world and spread love and happiness and joy to kids and parents. And it's just a wonderful thing to do. And Tom knows the history very well. And as a little girl, I sat on the original Santa's lap, Charles Howard, because we were both from the state of New York, and that's where Albion is. And so I went, it was a little amusement park. So I have some history there, and he's just got history loving Santa. So.
Right. Yeah, so can we dive into that? Who was Charles W. Howard?
Charlie was excuse me. Charlie was a farmer. He had a small family farm in Albion, New York, which is between Rochester and Buffalo. And he was very interested in helping Santa have a better image, because in that time Santas were, I'm going to say, kind of rough. They'd smoke and they'd drink and do some things that Santa wouldn't dare do today.
Sure,
or any Santa from our school, anyways. So that was his wish, and he also was a toy maker, along with being a farmer.
Wow.
And he was a Macy's Day Parade Santa.
Right.
And along with that, one of his most famous claims is he was a technical director for Santa on the original Miracle on 34th Street.
Really? Wow. Yeah. So this guy's the real deal.
Oh yeah, he's done a lot. We still pretty much follow his outline, his lesson plan. We never have gone to Charlie's school, but the Doan family, the third deans, we call them deans because it's always a couple, Mr. and Mrs. so far.
Right.
So the third deans were from Bay City, Michigan, and they went to Albion, New York every year. My first year of school, I went to Bay City, but we could talk about Charlie. Yes, about Charlie. I'm sorry, Charlie. Okay. Charlie, he passed in 1966, and Nate Doan from Bay City had taken over. Or before he passed, he asked Nate Doan from Bay City, Nate and Mary Ida, to take over the school. So they did. And the school was always small. I mean, it was pretty much laid out, designed for department store Santas. Back then, department store Santas were the popular fellas. So that he designed the school around that, and usually that's where he got his class from. His classes were always from 5 to 12 people, somewhere in that range.
So pretty small.
And even when it went to Bay City, Michigan, I don't know if it ever got to 12. It was a lot of times, Holly and I were the only ones there a few times. But
wow.
We were the star students those years.
Yeah. It took me a long time to learn this, and I'm still learning. So.
Yeah, sure. Wow. Okay, he was just really doing it out of the sounds like out of the love and passion to kind of share what he had learned, being Santa, or to help create better Santas. Because it wasn't. I mean, if he didn't have many students, it's not like this was a huge moneymaker for him or anything.
No. Yeah. And it's not. Yeah. We actually set it up as a nonprofit organization.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and no one takes a salary out of it, and we invest in the school what we get for tuition.
Nice.
Go ahead. I tell them I'm doing a lot of mumbling here, so.
No, this is great. I love this stuff. This is what we want to. This is the history we need.
It's really a wonderful. It's just part of our life right now. We plan all year for it, and the day after school is over, we start thinking, how can we make it better next year? What would make it even better? And we start making plans, and we start writing down ideas, what worked and what didn't. And I think Tom is just a natural Santa. We've been married, I think, 46 years. This October 5th will be our 46th year.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And my name is really Holly, which a lot of people question.
We didn't change it.
A lot of people question. But I was born December 22nd.
Ooh.
But we never talked about Santa or anything when we were dating, or even when we first got married. And then when I was expecting my first child, he said, I think I heard about a Santa Claus school in Bay City, Michigan that I'd like to go to. And I kind of frowned, like, why? I didn't get it. And he said, I think it just sounds interesting. I've always been a great follower of Santa. So I thought I'd just let him do it. He never took time off work. So he took 3 days off and went and loved it. And I came with him. And he was the star student every year, I guess. And they chose him to be the third dean of students. But, I think to be a really good Santa, what I see from the people that come, you really have to love children. You have to love people. You have to be loving and generous and want to share goodness and make children feel loved and secure. And that's why this year with COVID, we're like the only school going on right now.
Oh.
And we debated about it and thought about it. But like Tom said, I think Santa is needed more than ever this year. Santa has survived decades and centuries of wars and turmoil, and he's always come through. And same with, Santa Claus School. We need to produce Santas, not let them get down and depressed and not be able to see children. Now, when we saw the children today, we wore masks and we took them off when we went outside, and we were 10 feet apart. And
first thing they do is come running at you,
Right, yeah.
It's I didn't put my foot out or anything. I just took a few steps back and said, whoa, like you would with a reindeer.
Yeah, they see you and they just start charging. They start charging. And with their arms outstretched. And there's not enough volunteers and teachers to keep them back. And so I kind of have to be the bodyguard for Santa today.
Right,
because I met them and told them, no, we have to stay apart, but they just want to hug you and
yeah, it's an honor and a privilege to be Santa. Not everyone, I understand, wants to portray that image, but it's a great thing. And you always have to understand it's not Tom Valent or Holly Valent that they're fascinated with and they love. It's Santa. He's the most well-known character in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. We just have to keep that in mind and let our egos not get too big.
Right.
It's hard, December 26th, driving down the road in the car and no one's looking at you, nobody's smiling. I always wonder, what the heck's going on? Christmas is over and they just don't like me anymore. So.
Right, sure. Just cast aside now.
The beard came off and they don't recognize him as a Santa spirit. They just see a regular guy.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. It's kind of fun to drive with your Santa.
Yeah, I can imagine. We have a Santa around here who drives. I'll see him almost every year. He drives around Denny's, I think, right after on December 25th. I'll see him at Denny's almost every year, and he drives a motorcycle around that has like a Santa hat painted on it. It's really cool.
Oh, that's nice. Oh. These guys really get into it, and it's like the love of their life. Once they come to school, they get that energy and that spirit, and they just want to go out and do work with children and everyone.
It's a very rewarding thing to do. Because everybody likes to make people happy, or most people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
and that's what you're doing. And not every family wants the same thing. I like talking to families. Mm-hmm. I'll gladly talk to an individual or 5-year-old, but if you talk to 5-year-olds for 3 hours straight, your brain will go to mush. So it's you kind of want to have the whole family involved, because they'll tell you lots of stuff. I got to watch what I say. Sometimes you learn too much about families,
right?
And sometimes you got to pull it out of them, but it's a ton of fun.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great. I mean, I can relate to this a little bit, because I was a balloon twister at Disneyland for 10 years.
Wow. Big.
Oh, you're a pro then.
Yeah.
I love Disneyland.
Great job.
No, I mean, yeah, and it's such a great job. I just started it because I was, 15 and just looking for any job I could find, really, and kind of stumbled into it. But yeah, it was so great once I really got into it, because it was a job, but it was really rewarding too, and something it was fun to hang out with, the kids.
I would love that.
That's a ton of work, though. I mean, you're entertaining 24/7 at Disney World. I mean, you can't have a downtime. So you worked hard.
That's true.
That's good. And you stayed there that long. I would love to do that. One of our Santas graduated from our Santa school, is kind of a local guy here in Michigan. He got his degree here at our school, got a certificate. He went down there and he showed him his Santa school certificate, and he got the job that year, and he's been down there 4 or 5 years. He's been the lead Santa down there at Disney World.
We've had 3 graduates from the Charles W. Howard School become Disney Santa. So
they love it there too.
So we know they take the top. So you must be the top, Travis.
Right. Oh, wow. Well, thank you.
I'm sure, because they only take the best there.
Wow, yeah. So I could imagine just having the certificate or the graduation certificate from your school would carry a lot of weight for a Santa.
Yeah, it used to be. It was the only school when we took the school over in '86. It was the only Santa school.
It was the only Santa school.
And I think Santas that come or Santas that hear about it see what a great thing it is, and so a lot of. There's a few of them out there that have kind of tried it on their own, and I think some are doing all right with it. I'm not sure. We've never been to another one.
No, we haven't been, but quite a few of our
real job.
A few of our graduates have started their own Santa school, so we know that they got so much out of it that they loved it and they wanted to do it in their community, because we attract Santas from all over the United States. Like this year, we have someone from Hawaii, California, Florida, Oklahoma, New York, Tennessee. Every place. But this year we can't have people from Europe and Canada, which we usually have at least 15 to 20 Canadians and probably 3 or 4 Europeans from different countries. We've had people come from Australia and Norway and England and Sweden, so Greenland. So we get a nice mix of people, and
the spirit's the same no matter where you're from.
The spirit is the same, and it's fun to share the customs, and we all have the same interests. There's this common thread. Tom and I in 1995 were selected to represent the United States at the first World Santa Conference in Inuit, Greenland. And there were 13 Santas from 17 countries, 17 Santas from 13 countries. And we taught the Santa school to them. And even though they told us, they came up and they said, it's so infectious to hear this, that even the people, the Santas, that did not speak English or understand English, they got the spirit. They could feel it. They knew that there was this energy that I think that really American Santas might have a little bit more so than they do. I'm not sure.
The American Santa, even though the spirit's the same, every country's different. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the European countries, Santa's a disciplinarian character, and he's not that fat, jolly little guy like me.
Right.
Or like me, I should say that, like American Santa. And I think we have the edge. Actually, we did a parade in Zurich, Sweden, Switzerland. And so we were in this parade with all these Santa Clauses, which is St. Nicholas. And St. Nicholas is this tall, stern disciplinarian.
Really?
And he would, so there'd be a parade of them, and the little kids knew, and all the families knew, and the streets were packed. They knew that these, they had to behave when Santa Claus walked by. When they saw the American Santa Claus, Mr. and Mrs. Claus, they all smiled and laughed and waved. It was it was almost like they were relieved. But I'm not taking anything away from them. They put so much effort in their Santa visits.
They're just more serious and stern.
Yeah.
Sure.
It was awesome. We got to go with them. They would go from house to house. Actually, I don't know how much time. It might be boring you with all this stuff. But they'd interview you'd call the St. Nicholas Institute, and you'd give them your family information, and then they'd send a St. Nicholas out to visit the children, and they'd have all the background information on your family. So they put so much effort in it.
Wow.
And it was just great to see, and we got to participate in that. So
wow, very cool. Yeah, it's interesting the different customs, like you said, for different countries. Because I grew up in the U.S. and I'm just familiar with the U.S. style of Santa. But yeah, has there been any kind of working in different countries with other Santas and even Saint Nicholas and stuff? Have you learned anything from other styles of Santaing, or vice versa? Have you been able to kind of spread your maybe ideals onto other people?
I think what we noticed when we were in Europe is that they are more into the animals. Like they talk about animals, their North Pole. They tell stories about the animals, which is really good. And we try to incorporate that into our talks with children. And also like Santa, kids would, little like toddlers would bring their pacifiers to Santa. And he'd have like 3 feet of pacifiers tied to his belt.
Wow.
And mothers, when they thought it was time for their toddlers or young children to give up their pacifiers, they would have them go up to Santa and hand it to him at a desk. And he would, I don't know, what did he write down their names or something?
Yeah. And he'd take their pacifier, put it in a big glass jar or tie it on his belt. And I don't know. It was a little strange. I never felt comfortable doing it. I've had pacifiers given to me, but I didn't want to be the bad guy. I want to be the good guy.
Right. Yeah. I don't blame you for that.
But we also have the greatest Santa house here in Midland that was built in 1987, 86. And it's completely non-commercial, and children and families come from all over to visit it. I think we have about 25,000 visitors a year, and there's a line for an hour and a half long, closer to Christmas, outside in the freezing cold. But Tom made all the elves by hand, and he used to carve them out of what kind of wood? Linden wood, and hand carve them, and then we would make hands for them, and then they move, and they're making toys or painting trucks or something. And we have so many LGB trains because they've fallen off the tracks and they're still fine. Mm-hmm. And nothing is commercialized so that children would say, oh, I want that giant Barbie, or I need that American Girl doll. Because, like most communities, you have the very wealthy children here, the wealthy families, and then you have the very poor. I mean, we would have senator and congressmen's children here, and then we'd have people that lived with still dirt floors. I don't even believe in an outdoor plumbing. This was probably 25 years ago when we got started. But, or holes in their shoes and boots, and they'd stand in line for that hour with everybody else. It was just so heartwarming to see the love of the parents to put that effort into children to go see Santa. Right. And so that's one of the things that we stress during Santa School, that, even though you're tired and you're hungry, Santa, because he's got an appetite, mm-hmm. you have to give that moment with the children and make them feel special, because they don't always feel special at home or at school. Yeah. And so, we really stress that, and treat everybody equally with love and listen to them.
Right. Because, Travis, everyone remembers their childhood visits with Santa. Mm-hmm. I do. And, I'm almost 100 now. And I love that. I can remember that vividly, visiting Santa when I was young. And we as Santas and Mrs. Clauses have to remember, these children are going to remember this visit. So it has to be the best we can possibly do. Right.
No, that's good to hear, you guys. I can hear the passion and the enthusiasm, in your voice as you guys are talking about it. And you guys don't take it lightly. It's important. And I'm glad you guys are doing all this stuff. And sharing.
It's worth it. Yeah. It's very rewarding.
Yeah. So can we dive into what, what Santa School is like. Like if someone's coming to Santa School, what can they kind of expect to learn and be taken through?
Sure. We start each year, each day with the way Charlie Howard did, and that's with a prayer. Now, Santa can be a religious figure to some families and a not religious figure in others. Whatever he is in each family is what he is. Mm-hmm. But we start the class out with a prayer, and then we talk about the history of Santa Claus. Somebody asks you, how old are you, Santa? Well, I'm 1,728 years old. Well, that goes back to St. Nicholas, who lived in Asia Minor, which is now Turkey. But actually, Santa, the gift givers, there was that Santa spirit before St. Nicholas, but St. Nicholas took it over, and the Catholic nuns made a big deal out of the old boy, so they started the legend. And this legend is used by families and parents to help raise their children. Mm-hmm. If you're good, you're rewarded.
So we have someone come in as St. Nicholas, dressed in the traditional bishop's robes, and he talks about St. Nicholas, and he's a serious figure. And just in case some of our guys speak in front of a church on St. Nicholas Day or even Christmas Eve, different churches will ask you. So you need to know that Santa Claus really came from something other than Thomas Nast. But
yeah. So, we'll go on to, another important piece of history is in 1822, Clement Moore wrote The Night Before Christmas. And that's the takeoff on our American Santa.
Oh, okay.
With the reindeer and the elves, and the kids are going to ask you, how many elves do you have, Santa? 886. Well, I made that number up, and I've been living with it for 43 years now, and it seems to work. And I kind of pass it on. I'm not to all the other Santas, but you need to be able to respond when children, ask you questions.
Right.
And they want to know about the North Pole. They want to know about reindeer. Like Holly was saying, they love animals. So if you can talk about animals, fine. And then we teach the Santas how to be comfortable in a group. And I'm a terrible singer, but I think I'm pretty darn good when I sing Rudolph or Santa's Coming to Town or Jingle Bells. Those are I major in those three songs.
Right.
And it's a lot of fun to sing with the kids, and that builds the spirit, and we build the spirit in the Santa School by having them stand up and sing. Now, these guys that come to Santa School, they're not the healthiest bunch. They're in their 60s and 70s and
80s and 90s.
And then as far as weight goes, they're up there.
Mm-hmm.
And so how many of you guys have diabetes? And 3/4 of the class raises their hand. And
oh man,
it's like, but we teach health.
We have some healthy Santas
we have
too.
Some healthy
yes,
it's important to be healthy as a Santa. And I know these guys some of them have trouble staying healthy, but you have to tell them you have to eat right, you have to exercise, even though you're a big boy, a little bit on the old side. You still have to be lively and quick, because that's what Santa is. He's a healthy outdoorsman. Mm-hmm. That coat that he wears is red and white, and the red stands for healthy outdoorsman, and the white stands for purity. Santa's a pure man. He doesn't have bad thoughts. He doesn't, and we teach this at school. Santa, everybody loves you, but they really don't love Tom Valent. They love Santa. Don't take advantage of it. Don't put the moms on your lap. Don't just behave, Santa.
Yeah.
And that's really important.
No flirting.
Yeah, no flirting.
Yep.
And
you really got to teach them how to be this person, to be Santa, to have the answers to the questions and understand the history and the story. Yeah.
Right. And answering kids, I love it. And I really like the older kids because, they got them deep questions.
Right.
And I don't believe I lie to the children or mislead them. Mm-hmm. When they're little, they don't totally understand the spirit. but it's a legend, and he flies on the sleigh, and he does all this and that, and they buy right into that. But as they get older, they'll start questioning, well, how do you get around the world in one night, Santa? So, you depending on the child, you read them. You might ask them a few questions, but then you let them know, that there's 24 time zones. Santa comes to the United States and Canada Christmas Eve. But even some of those places he comes in the United States and Canada, he comes December 5th, or the December 6th is the Feast of St. Nicholas. So he'll come the day before. Mm-hmm. In a lot of European countries, in Switzerland when we went, he was coming on the Feast of St. Nicholas, December 6th. In Russia, he comes January 1st. And of course, Spain, it's the Feast of the Epiphany, which would be January 6th. But so you can just tell him he comes different times, and you can go on and on and on. And I have a watch, a big old pocket watch that doesn't fit in my pocket. It's so big, and I show him how it works, and then I shut it off, or just hold the button, and the hands quit going around. I said, "See, Santa can stop time whenever he wants. Don't you remember how long it takes to wake up Christmas Eve? That's like the longest night of the year. I mean, that can go on for days and nights. Right. Yeah, it takes forever to wake up Christmas Eve. They buy right into that. So it's a lot of fun.
Right.
But we teach a nice health class, exercise, how to exercise and get out of your chair, because some Santas have to sit for 8 hours. So we do stretches and teach them to get up and walk around and sing. And we have a singer come in and a music teacher, a music professor, come in and teach
voice
lessons and get comfortable with that. And then we teach about hair and makeup, how to have a nice, grow your beard nicely, or how to take care of it, and cleanliness. Keep your hands clean, your nails clean, your breath fresh.
If you're going to have an artificial beard, you want to have a really good one. Right. And that means you're going to have to spend a lot of money, like in the $2,000 range. So You have real hair that's made by a real wig master, and it's better than you can grow. Honestly, it's beautiful stuff. It has to be taken care of. It has just like real hair. Only the best part about that stuff is you can take it off.
Yeah.
Right. So you can put away Santa for a little while. But back to the class schedule, we're getting off that.
That's part of the class.
Well, I'm trying to go on schedule, but we do hair and makeup.
We talk about reindeer. Rudolph's 81 years old this year. He was born in 1939. You need to get them familiar with the reindeer names, because the kids, some are going to ask you their names. Some of the ones that are testing you out. And,
right.
The more you know about the North Pole, the better. So I just love North Pole questions. We go around the room. We ask everyone what their North Pole looks like, so I can steal their good ideas.
Right.
We have a lady come in that lets them be comfortable with sign language. Now, you're not going to learn sign language in Santa School, but you're going to learn, you can learn it. And so you go home and you flip up the computer and you watch how to do a few signs. And we do teach them in class how to say, Merry Christmas, Santa loves you. What
do you want for Christmas? Leave cookies and milk. Be good. Santa loves you.
All simple things we can do.
Simple, but and it's so powerful that if you have a deaf child come in and something, they come in and they're like, I know he's not going to understand anything about me. And Santa can just do a couple of sign language Christmas things, and they get so excited. They just want to hug you.
Yeah.
And even though you can't carry on a conversation, they know that you love them enough to care about them, to learn some part of their language. But speaking of the reindeer, we're looking at 2 reindeer right now. We have 2 reindeer, Comet and Blitzen, and we've had reindeer for about 20 years? Mm-hmm. About 20 years. So it helps, because then we can bring the reindeer to Santa School. Sometimes we bring the students here to see their environment, their personalities, their habits. what they look like, what they smell like, what they sound like, how they eat, how they go to the bathroom. I mean, there's just lots of things that you wouldn't, imagine if you didn't see it in person. So we really try to have a school that encompasses everything that Santa needs to know. And one of our big things is we usually take a ride on the Real Polar Express, the 1225, the train that was
in the movie, the Polar Express.
Wow.
It's right here in Michigan. And our plan goes right. It'll be here as part of our Santa School every season from now on, starting next year. But it's a great locomotive. You know the story, right, Travis?
Oh yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's a great thing. So even this year, we're gonna we couldn't normally we get them on the 1225. This year with the COVID situation we have now, we can't do that. But we're gonna just park a couple cars, passenger cars, so Santas can walk through it. In Santa School, we don't learn. You can't learn everything there is to learn. I'm still learning about Santa because I'm just getting started. This is my 43rd year. So I'm just getting started in this, and I'm really starting to get into it. But Santa School's only 3 days, and we can only dump 40 hours in those 3 days. And so we just touch on a lot of different things, and that builds your interest, and then you have that quest to keep learning. And that's pretty much how it goes at Santa School. We do have some business classes, which might not be full of spirit, but it's good information on how to keep your books if you were to charge money. We don't tell Santas what to charge or how much money they can make. That's not what this school is about, but it's fine if that's what you do. And you should get some income out of it, because these suits are a couple $1,000, your hair is a couple $1,000, and your time is worth something. This is Christmas time. And that thing I tell the students is, if you have a family, you have to keep that in mind. You can't go be Santa every day or every night. Mm-hmm. It's like, what if some husband or went to play golf every day? I mean, that's just not right. Because you can get hooked on this Santa stuff if you're good at it, and if it works for you. So you have to be careful, because you got to keep things at home in right order.
Right. No, I can imagine. So do you guys, you're talking about like, teaching, helping with singing and things like that. Do you guys help with getting the proper like voice tonality and the like proper ho 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 and that kind of stuff?
Oh yes.
Yeah, the ho 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 is fun. Real quick, you just want to not scare the children.
Oh yeah.
The ho 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 is a laugh. It's not a loud, scary noise. So and you laugh with your belly. You just pop your belly out, fill your lungs full of air, and laugh. Oh, 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 oh.
Wow.
Something like
that.
Incredible. That was great.
Now, one of the rewarding things about Santa School is having people, some men or women, and they say, oh, I've been doing Santa for 20, 25 years. I know everything. I just heard that this was a famous school, so we should go. And then when they're done, they call us or write a nice note and say, we never knew what it was really like to be Santa. We finally, we learned so much and we're really known. I don't know when we started this, like maybe 25 years ago, the idea that our emphasis is on the heart of Santa. And I don't know if that translates into the spirit of Santa, but so many Santas that come back year after year tell us that if they miss a year because their daughter got married, or, there was a death in the family, or, their son was playing in the Super Bowl, which we've had.
Whoa.
Christmas just wasn't the same for them. They just didn't have that spirit. It's like they get charged up. It charges them up. Santa School does.
Yeah.
So, and I tell people, we've got someone coming this year that said she's been trying, a Mrs. Claus with her husband. She said they've been trying to come for 25 years. And this is kind of an unusual year to come, because we normally have 300 to 325 students, 325. And this year we have limited it to just under 100. Well, we're hoping it's under 100, but because, we're really working hard to do all the social distancing and everything. But
right.
So, really, she was lucky to get in this year when it's cut down to a third. But when we started, Tom was the only student the first year. And then the next year, I think there were 2. And then the next year there were 3. And then when we took it over, I think there were 7 or 8 students. And then every year we've just added more things and a lot of field trips. And we go to Frankenmuth, Michigan, which has the world's largest Christmas store. We take buses, nice luxury buses, and we sometimes play the Polar Express on there or play some Christmas movie or music. And we go through the world's largest Christmas store just to get them in that spirit. They buy some trinkets or some treasures, I guess.
Right.
And then we walk around downtown. The people love to see all these Santas. But we tell them not to dress as Santa because there's only one Santa. So we really kind of ban wearing your Santa suit. You can dress like a Santa might on his free time. But and then we go eat at the what is it? The world's it's one of the top 10 places, most
chicken restaurant.
Yeah, a famous place where they serve, I don't know how many millions of meals a year, but it's all you can eat chicken dinner. It's a German town, and the Santas love that.
That sounds
great. You can just get mashed potatoes and all the chicken, and it's really good chicken, and then dessert and soup and squash and cranberries and stolen bread, and then just things they love. And then we sing a lot, and we have a lot of entertainers come. And what else do we do that's fun? Everything's fun. Everything's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, this year I think we're going to have a candy maker come to teach us about. He's going to make candy canes.
Oh,
homemade candy canes. But we also we go to a workshop, a real carpenter shop on Saturday morning, and Santa learns how to make a toy from scratch, like a truck or a
puppet, anything.
Puppet, yeah, something. And we have donut makers come, and they make donuts fresh for us. And we have coffee and donuts and
we do that so Santa can understand what it's like at the workshop. Because again, they ask about the North Pole all the time. And so if a lot of Santas or a lot of men and Mrs. Clauses don't actually work with their hands, they're not real crafty. So if you can put them in that carpenter shop for a couple hours and have them turn out a simple toy, they feel pretty good about it. Yeah, and our toys are nice that they make.
Our toys are nice.
Actually, the Mr. and Mrs. that helped teach that class they've been toy makers for years, and
they came to Santa School like 20 years ago.
Really, really good at it. And I heard Holly mention before that about no one dresses that Santa as Santa. We're all in this town. It's not a big town, so when 300 Santas show up, kids start wondering what's going on.
Right.
So what we advertise now, we don't advertise the school, but what we say is there's going to be a Santa reunion. These are all Santa's cousins that are coming to town. So nobody is the real Santa.
Right.
And even if a child were to ask you when you're alone doing your Santa work in the winter or at Christmas time, are you the real Santa? The right answer is, I'm the spirit of Christmas and I stand for love and giving. I would never tell a child I'm the real Santa.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I was curious what you guys thought about that, what your response was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also on the last day, we have a dance class because Santa should know how to dance. So we have a dancer come in and teach Santa some dance moves. But one of the big things that they love is that Tom built a full-size sleigh, like a sleigh that could be packed with toys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's up on I don't know what it's up on.
It's a full-size sleigh and reindeer. So it's 44 feet long, an animated reindeer.
Whoa.
Full size. And they get on it. We put it inside a dark warehouse so it feels like it's nighttime.
And have lights.
Put a little light on it. And they get so darn excited, we have to let them go to the boys' room right after that.
They have to climb up a ladder and get on the sleigh. They pull the reins, and these handmade reindeer, they're like stuffed reindeer, full size. You can pull them and feel what it would be like to drive a real sleigh in the middle of the night, in the dark, and the excitement. And they really love that because not that many people have the privilege of doing parades. So you at least get to feel that.
We call that flight lessons. You actually feel like sometimes I dream I'm Santa and flying through the sky, and that's a real feeling. But Travis, I'm starting to think here, listening to Holly do all the talking. Are we? we haven't heard you ask any questions. I apologize.
No, this is the lazy man's interview. You guys are doing a great job. I don't even have to do anything. But I love learning about this stuff, and I could totally see how it would be, infectious for someone to come to this and come for your first time maybe to Santa School to learn how to do it, but then just keep coming back to like turn on the Santa switch, and get in the mood and the zone and get into it. I love that.
Yeah, there's a lot to do that. It's usually 50-50. Our classes are 50 returning students, 50% returning, and 50% new on the average.
Oh, okay.
And we usually turn people away. We have to, close the registration because we don't want it to get too big. It's nice when it's small and you can talk to everybody and learn their story back home. And it's really amazing what a great variety of people we have. We have principals, school principals and ministers and executives and candy makers and truck drivers and coal miners and what else? Well, we don't always know what they do, but when you talk to them and you say, really, oh, that's really interesting. Farmers and
dam contractors. Yeah, that's what Tom is. So, you do have a second life. You aren't just, it's kind of like a Superman, you're kind of secret,
right?
But you really have a real life, but then you come out as, to me, a good Santa or Mrs. Claus is like a super person because it takes a lot of energy. I don't have all the energy. I don't go with him every single time. Mm-hmm. And when I do, like this morning, I was exhausted. I had to take a nap after.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It takes a lot of energy to, try to connect with every child and the teacher. And some Santas just, I get exhausted. He gets exhilarated. He gets energized by it. So it takes a special person. And right. It's definitely a calling. It's definitely a gift. And I admire those people. And I think the people that come to our school, they take a lot of effort to get here. And I know it's important to them. And I just talked to like 3 today, and they're so excited they can hardly stand it. Mm-hmm. They drove to Midland from Ohio just to look at the Santa house. They didn't tell us they were coming, so they can only see the outside of it. And then they drove to Frankenmuth, and they've been there twice because they're so excited they can hardly stand it. And, it's just so nice to see people excited, especially during this downtime. So many people are down right now with the COVID, and I think we'll have a little reprieve here and get people happy and spirited again. And Christmas is going to come no matter what. And this year, that's what we're doing different this year. We have a big section on virtual Santa. So,
sure.
So we're not good at it, obviously, because we're not on visual, but we will learn. So if you call us back sometime,
right. There we go.
We'll know how to do it. And we'll learn how to do the backgrounds and the do's and don'ts and how not to have your phone ringing in the background, not to have your house a mess, or things like that. I've already had to run and put my cell phone underneath the couch cushion so it didn't make noise. But I'm not good with technology, but that I think everyone's looking forward to that because.
Yeah, I think that's important too. I think families need the Santa spirit more than ever this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm very glad you guys are still doing this stuff this year and not just calling it quits for the year, Yeah,
we're not giving in.
Yep.
We're going to do it right. Nobody's going to get sick at Santa school, and we're going to teach the Santas how not to get sick while they're touching all those filthy little kids.
Right.
Well, they play out in the dirt. They have to wait in line for an hour. We're not going to
infest those filthy little kids any further either.
Edit that out.
Right. Hey, you know what? As Santa, if you're in your community, you're going to have every germ you could possibly imagine because it's going to get you, Santa.
Yeah.
So I always feel like being Santa is like getting a tetanus shot or getting a
vaccine.
Right. Because you get a little touch of everything and you usually make it right through.
Right. There you go.
Yeah, I think we only ever had to shut down the Santa house since 1987 one night, and that was because of the weather. The weather was so bad you couldn't,
I'm sure I had coronavirus last Christmas and didn't know.
But we have had years where the Santas all were sick with the flu, and we're calling around and, can you take this shift? And of course you can't put Santa on when he's sick. So somebody has to do double shifts and, stay healthy, and they make it through. They're just exhausted, but because they know how important it is, they're willing to be exhausted. Mm-hmm. So, we just have to remind them, make sure you wash well before you come, make sure you get your rest when you get to rest and eat well. And we have 2 different nurses coming in this year, a COVID nurse and then a wellness team that comes in and talks about how to stay healthy during the season, how to eat better during the season so that you keep your energy up, and how to do certain exercises so that you keep your energy up and those kind of things. So we're looking forward to that. We've added that. We usually have an exercise person and a health person, but this is right from the hospital, and they're looking forward to it. People are honored to come talk to us. Oh, that's another thing. We have someone coming from Florida talking about the hot toys of 2020, and she usually comes in person, and she's doing Zoom this year. So we have a couple of Zoom speakers.
Right.
We understand that, and that will be good experience for everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys got to kind of be up to date on the new toys and everything like that, huh?
Yes. It makes the conversation go a lot better. Like I said earlier, talking to 5-year-olds for a long time, your brain can go to mush unless you get right down there with them.
Right.
I think I'm pretty good at that. I can turn into a 5-year-old pretty fast. But knowing what the toys are makes the conversation a lot more enjoyable. But I must say, I don't dwell on what they're going to get for Christmas. I'll ask them because that's what they're there for. They want to tell you what they want for Christmas. Santa never promises anything because you don't know what's really going to happen at their house, whether they have all the means in the world or if maybe they don't have the means at all to have anything. Yeah. So Santa, the rule is you don't promise anything, even though mom's shaking her head yes and this cell phones are a riot, and an 8-year-old comes up and wants a cell phone for Christmas.
Or a gun.
I said, that's not a toy. I make toys. What kind of toy do you want? It's
Didn't you have a little boy about 10 years ago that asked for a rifle, a real one?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, those things are...
Yeah. Hey, you got to live where we do. It's fine.
Yeah.
He had his Carhartts on, his camouflage, and he's ready for action. He's going hunting.
Yeah. Yeah. So is this something that can anybody become a Santa if they have the kind of the right spirit for it, or do you really need kind of that certain look?
No, you hit it Travis. Spirit. That's what you need, the heart and the spirit.
Okay.
And now if you're 6'8", you're going to have a little trouble. But other than that, you can be as short as you need to be and as wide as you need to be. And if you're not wide enough, you can put a little padding in there. But the new Santas aren't that wide anymore.
Mm-hmm. They're healthy.
And we can put real hair on you, and it's going to look better than if you tried to grow your own. So we can cosmetically make you into it, but you have to make sure that you maintain your personal hygiene and brush breath, and that's all part of school too.
Mm-hmm.
And stay in character. You always stay in character.
Mm-hmm.
Adults get nervous around Santa. Kids don't get nervous. Adults do. And then they want to call you something other than Santa. They want you to come out of character so they can relax. Oh, I'm finally talking to a human. You stay in character. It's a lot more exciting for the family.
Yeah.
And I think that takes years of practice. And because I just talked to someone who's been a Santa for 5 years, and he said he still struggles with that, staying in character, because as Tom said, you get nervous and you want to be yourself, or they want you to be yourself. And when you take the outfit off, then you're yourself. But when you're in the outfit, you maintain Santa standards, which is, really almost impeccable. You have to be jolly and nice and happy and happy and spirited and as much as you can be, but you can't be grumpy and complaining. And I don't know. It just, it's like I say, I feel like it's a calling and a gift, but there's a lot of them out there. There's so many good people. You just meet such wonderful people that it's well worth it. And, we're just so excited to see everybody every year because it becomes a community, a family. You're really a family. And with the classes being so big, we don't really get to know everybody. But last year I wasn't able to go for the first time because I was going through stage 4 cancer. And I went to the hospital the day school ended and was in the hospital. I went to Mayo Clinic and University of Michigan, and they thought I was going to die. And somebody found out, we don't like to spread bad news during the holidays, but someone let it out that I was sick and serious. And I got so much outpouring of prayers and concern and love and support. And I would tell my doctors that they were praying for my doctors and my nurses. And I thought that was so sweet that not only did they pray for me and my family, we have 5 children, 12 grandchildren. So it's a solid, good family, but they were praying for my doctors and nurses. And this year when I went back they gave me 6 to 12 months to live. And the doctor said, we don't know how you made it. And I said, well, it was the prayers and the community of Santas and friends, their love and support. And they called doctors in to look at me because they said, we don't usually get to see somebody come back.
Right.
So,
wow.
That's just, we've been in, doing Santa since he was Santa first in 1975 for just neighborhood children. But, for them to come through in such a powerful way without us asking for the help, you kind of get the idea that they are generous and giving and loving people.
Mm-hmm.
So I know Tom appreciated that too, when they would write little notes or send little emails. And I was too sick or out of it to read them, but he would read them. And it gave him, a reassurance too, that, you were being supported by another spirit. So yeah, we've been blessed to be part of this. And,
yes, we have.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful thing, but I feel like we've been talking too long to you. I have been. I'm sorry. It's me.
No, this is
Don't
great.
ask me next time.
I love that. I mean, because it seems, at least on the surface, that you could just go up there and be Santa, but there's so much more to it. I'm sure it just helps to understand the whole process and your guys' spirit and deep, connection to this whole thing and the school and all the people you work with. It just, I think, adds a whole level of, another level dimension to it, so people can appreciate this and go visit their local Santas and everything like that. So I'm really thankful for you guys to come on here and share all this information. So I really, really appreciate what you guys are doing.
Well, we appreciate you and your time. Thank you.
And when you get old, you come to school and we'll put you through the education, because if you can survive as a balloon maker at Disney World, you'd be a natural Santa.
Right, yeah. I know, I'm already saying I want to go to Santa School. It looks so fun.
You're more than welcome, son.
Cool.
Travis would take you.
Cool. That's good to hear. Thanks, guys. So for people listening who maybe want to learn more about Santa School or attend, should we send them anywhere specific, like a website or anything like that?
What is the website?
Santa Claus School.
Santa Claus School. There we go.
www.santaclausschool.com.
Okay.
Well, it is a CWH, but I'm...
No, don't mix it up.
Okay, that's not mixed up. Sorry. I told you I'm good with technology, but no,
cool. Well,
we don't...
I'll have the, for people listening, I'll have the link down in the description.
It's called, the Charles W. Howard Santa Claus School. He'll take you right there.
Right, we'll find it.
Next year will be a big year, so have them start thinking about it and getting some ideas for this Christmas and watching for good Santas, and we'd love to meet them someday.
Cool. Awesome. Well, I mean, thanks again, Tom, Holly. It's so fun to talk to you guys and dig deep into the Santa School and everything. So thanks again, guys.
Merry Christmas, Travis.
Yeah.
To you
Merry
and your
Christmas.
family.
Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh boy, we did it. Aren't you in the Christmas spirit now? Doesn't it feel good? Those guys, Tom and Holly, are just awesome. They're so nice. They just exude Christmas, especially with a name like Holly. It's her real name. Like she said, I swear. She didn't change her name just to be more Christmassy, but hopefully you enjoyed that episode. I really did. A lot of interesting, fun facts you can share with your family at Christmas or when you go to meet Santa Claus. So thank you, Tom and Holly, for being on, sharing all that info. Really fun. Thank you to you, the listener, for being here and not getting through it. It wasn't hard to get through, but for being here to the end of the episode, making it all the way through. I appreciate you listening. Maybe you know somebody who loves Santa Claus and they would want to hear this episode, or who wants to become a Santa or a Mrs. Claus. Maybe you could send them this episode. So that really helps out if you want to share this episode with your friends and family. Love getting that kind of stuff, all the word of mouth and, promoting and whatever. I'm Travis DeRose. You can email me your thoughts, questions, ideas, criticisms, feedback, ideas for new podcast. Travis at curiositynest.com. I'm on Instagram, but there's all this stuff. Just go to curiositynest.com. You can find all that stuff if you want to connect with me on social media and whatever. I guess that's about it. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in episode 102. So long.